Hey guys, back in a new video. Today what we're going to be working on is some pie charts and some custom legends. Sorry about that, just had that junk open. So last we had left off, we had been putting together a custom plugin, and that was pretty cool, but we're not going to be working with a line chart today. We're actually going to be working with a pie chart. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm just going to create a new file, and I'm just going to call this like landing or something like that. Just to have a new app component. Oh man, I don't have my snippets. Um, I had to uninstall like almost everything on my code editor. It was honestly kind of ridiculous. All right, so let's see here. Let me disable and then reload, and then let me see, React enable. See, I had tried to get flow set up, and for whatever reason, it was just not happy. Like VS Code was not happy with the fact that I was using flow, and everything was just completely messed up. And as far as I knew, flow was supposed to be pretty easy to set up, and I don't know. I didn't appreciate it. There we go. Now we have landing. All right, so uh, all that for that little bit of code. Um, so in here, I'm actually gonna just change app to landing. That way, I don't have to worry about the plugin code. But basically, in here, before we make the constructor, I'm just gonna get this page up and running. So I'll just say hello from landing. All right, npm start. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and import Pi from, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that right away, just because I want to make our own custom component. So you might be able to see up here that um, I have like some code up here, just like Chromecast it up to my TV. Um, that's just so this video can go by smoothly and quickly. So we're already a couple minutes in. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut that, and then I'm going to write some starter code, and then you guys can catch up with me in a minute. I just want to make sure that these videos aren't going on forever. So be right back. Alright, so I'm back here with just some very basic boilerplate code. Um, Basically, I created this component, pie chart custom legend, and it's just going to be sitting in a div with position relative, same way I taught you. Just hard coding the height here. I mean, this could easily just be uh, props dot height, so we'll do that. And then the last piece of the puzzle here is just passing the data object. So I'll just do data is going to be, props.data. And actually, this should probably be this dot props. And this dot props dot height. You see here I have a ref set. This is going to end up being a very important part of the puzzle. And then these options are pretty much what you need to get your legend set up. Obviously, we want to turn off the default chart.js legend, and then we need this legend callback property on our options object, and basically we pass it a function. So this function here is going to accept a chart object as a, so I'm just going to do legend callback. It's going to accept a chart object as a parameter, and then in here, basically, what you're going to do is you're just going to return normal React the same way that you would. So, hold up, my phone is going off. It's like early in the morning. I figured that if I was going to have any shot in getting these videos made, it had to be early. So I actually got up before my alarm went off. So that was pretty funny. So basically, what we're going to have here is we're going to create a legend set object. And this is just going to be the chart's data, and what we're going to do is we're going to map through it, and then we're going to take the set, the index, and then in here what we're going to say, um, So let's just get rid of this. It's throwing me off real quick. So I'm just going to return nothing right now, right? So basically what we're going to have here is this legend set. We'll change this later, but so on the legend set, you know what? Nah, we're going to do this a little bit differently. So we're going to create the legend set, like no doubt, but we're also going to create a legend. So just so that we have our variables named right. So we're going to do .datasets of 0, and basically that's going to be our first data set. So then we'll just create a legend, and it's going to be this map that we have here. So we'll just say that we're going to have a data point, and it's going to be like the chart label at whatever index that we're at. So we'll just grab that real quick, and then we're going to say if the data point exists. So this is going to be a common theme with chart.js code, especially when you're doing custom stuff like this. You always want to make check, like especially in React, because there's so many things in React that can just like not be there, and then they'll be there a minute later. So always double check, always do the if. So if data point, then what we'll do is we'll return a list item. So we'll just have the list item right here, and basically I'm going to give it some unique characteristics. So big one is ID, right? So ID is going to be equal to, and we're going to do string interpolation here. Let me make that a little bit larger. Maybe that's more helpful for you guys. So we'll do some string interpolation here, and basically this is going to be legend set dot label dot replace. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace any space, right? So any space globally, I'm going to replace it with nothing, and that's just going to be inside my ID object. And then we'll have our key. Obviously, for everything that you map through in React, you're going to want to have a key. I'm just going to put the whole data point right there. We're going to define an on-click listener, and basically what we'll do here is we'll just take in an event, and we'll say like handle this dot handle legend on click or something like that. That'll work, right? And we'll pass in the event. Class name, probably not going to be that important, right? But what I'll do here is I'll do legend group item, and then I'll just do that's also a list group item. So I'm going to actually do some interesting stuff here. I'm going to do a data index. So this is just going to be I. That's so that I have the index, and then I'll do a data quantity because I want to make this custom legend have like a little thing up top on it. So I'll just do actually I'll use legend set dot data, and what I'll do is I'll grab the data point at that index, not like the data point, the name that we have there, but the actual hard raw data. So I'll grab that, and then I'm just going to put a little style on here. This just because I know where I'm going with this, but so I'm going to say that the border color is going to be equal to the legend set dot background color. So that'll be the background color of the index of the actual data set that we're working with. So whatever we set on the data set and say that's our background color, whether it's a gradient or whatever, we're going to inherit that in that border color. So we'll come back down to our children. So I'll just use a mark tag just because they're not used very often, and I kind of like them. I don't know why, but I do kind of like them. So pass style object in here. So I'll just do background color. Apologize, it's very early in the morning, but so I'll do background color of I. Otherwise, I'll just pass it a fallback color in case it's undefined, and I'm just going to do like a really light gray, so E5. That should work right there. And then inside our mark tag, it's basically any HTML tag, so I'm just going to put in legend set dot data of I. So that'll be the same data that's in our data quantity up here. And then what I'll do here is underneath our mark, I'm just going to do some string interpolation, and I'll say data point dot replace, and then I'll do another regex here. So I'll be globally replacing it with nothing. And what I want to actually replace is any basically any digits, right? So any digits that are between 1 to 6 characters. And I want to go actually straight to the end of the line. So basically, I want to make sure that that the data point doesn't have stuff, that there's not stuff in my legend like the number that's going to be in the main like list item. I want the number to be in this mark because I'm going to style the mark to be in the top like corner or something like that. So I just want to make sure that I just get rid of that entirely. And I just don't want it in there. So I'm going to just get rid of that, replace it with nothing. So that'll work for us right now. And then what we'll do here at the end of our map, right, is we're actually just going to go ahead and return legend. And then since we're mapping through and we don't want to have something undefined, so we'll have our if. And so if there's a data point, then we're going to return all that. Otherwise, I probably could have kept that. But otherwise, my linter would be yelling at me right now. I'll just do return nothing. So we'll put that right there, and then we'll have our return legend. So this is our legend maker. Now, even though this is in here and it's a prop on our chart, it's not going to automatically run. So we have to tell chart.js about this. So component did mount, and that's how we're going to be able to access this chart.js method. It's going to be called generate legend. So we're going to create a legend, and then what we're going to do is we'll put this in our component state. So we'll get some props here, props, and then we'll say this dot state, and we'll put a legend in there, and that's just going to be an array. So we're returning a map set, right? So that's just an array. So we don't have to make it any more complicated than it is. But so this. All right, so legend is going to equal this dot chart. So that's referring to the ref that we put on our chart. So this dot chart. So we're referring to that ref. And we got to say, if this exists, return me something. So we'll just use a binary operator. So we'll say this dot chart instance dot generate legend. And that's not a generator. It is just a regular function. So we'll have that right there, and basically that's going to return our legend if the chart object exists, and it will. But once it mounts, it will. So we'll have that, and then we'll just say, oh man, I hate that VS Code does that. This dot set state, and I'll just put legend in here. So now we have that legend. We have our state object just accessible. The only thing that we really don't have is this handle on click. I mean, that's pretty easy, but basically what we could just do right here, so we'll just do handle legend on click, pass the event, and we'll say let instance is going to be this dot chart instance, and then we're going to get the element, so it's going to be document get element by ID. You could also use React DOM here, I don't feel like using the find node stuff or anything like that. So anyway, not double equal. So e dot current target dot id, and then what we'll have in here, we'll say if the elements class list contains, and I'm just going to say button disabled, right? So if it contains button disabled, then basically we just want to remove that class. So we'll say that remove. So, you know, if you are not used to doing button disabled, if you're not used to doing this style of JavaScript programming with React, I mean, that's fine, but it works, you know. So feel free to find a way to do it your own way and to make it your own. But, you know, this is completely valid JavaScript, so, you know, the React way of doing things, you know, that's really just a state of mind. Anyway, so I'm going to get the target. I'm going to grab that attribute that we put in there, the data index. So that's why we put that in there. So that's going to be our target. We need to get the meta. So we're going to do instance.config.data.datasets of 0 _meta. So this is one of those hidden properties in the chart.js. So every data set, every single data set is going to have a meta. So just keep that in mind. And then we'll say we're going to get the first one, and we'll do object.keys of meta, and we'll grab the first one. There's a way to do that with array deconstructing or object deconstructing or whatever, but honestly, this is fine. So we'll take meta of first, and basically we need to have this first. So we can't just say meta of 0 because chart.js is going to randomly assign it basically an index. And I don't know if they just, you know, create an array of a pre-allocated size and then just slice off it and then just clone the array into, you know, a non-pre-allocated array. But basically the indexes are all screwed up. So we're going to grab the first index here by doing it this way. Get data of the target, and then we want the hidden data, or the hidden operator. So basically, you know, is this hidden? Is it, if it's hidden, then we need to do something. If it's not hidden, then we need to do something. So obviously we're putting this button disabled class on there, so that should inform you as to, you know, why we need to know if it's hidden. So anyway, we'll just do is equal to not meta of first dot data of t dot hidden. So basically just flip the value, right? And then we're going to grab that inst object, and then we're just going to say update. So basically we update our chart. This is pretty important. You know, maybe if you're using a pure component, you won't need this. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it. But you do need to update your chart. You need to notify React of your changes, and it would be pretty easy to forget to do that. So I'm going to hit pause on this, and we'll be back in a minute. Alright, so unfortunately we're not done yet. So we've created the bare bones structure of our legend. We're not actually rendering our legend yet, and we don't have any actual structure for our legend either. So basically what I'm just going to do here is I'm just going to create a legend component, because why not? No, not like an actual HTML legend. A legend. Okay. So in this legend, we're just gonna put a ref on it. So we'll just do L is gonna be this dot legend is equal to L, and so you could pass in some like pagination functions in here if you wanted to, and I'll leave that to you. If you guys really want a video on how to paginate your legend, just let me know. But I mean, honestly, it's pretty easy. Like I have confidence you guys can figure it out. So we'll grab our legend out of state. State, and we're just going to pass that on click, and we'll say e. We should probably rename this. All right, so I'll do handle legend. Oh, we'll just pass it the same name. Just handle legend on click of e. All right, so that makes things easy. So obviously we need to create this class. So what I'm gonna just go ahead and do is what is it called? RPC. Yeah. All right. So I want a pure component. So I'm just do legend, and let's cut that. These snippets are cool, but they're also just like so dumb. All right, so we're gonna create like a legend here, and basically, as you saw, all our legend objects are going to be list items. So I'm just gonna create a UL, and I'm just gonna put this inside a fragment because I just love using fragments. But we'll do UL, and you know, you can put a class name in here if you know. For right now, I'll just put some basic classes on here, just so when I style this, I have something to show you. And then in here, we're not gonna simply, like, we could pass the children to it, but it's not that simple. So I mean, you could obviously make this just like a regular component and pass children into it and operate on your children, but I really do think it's easier to pass it in as props, and I will, you know, I'll kind of show you why. So in our render function, we're gonna say let legend equals this dot props dot legend, and then we'll do dot filter, and I'm just gonna say that the item dot props dot data quantity, right? So that exists there. So if it's greater than 0, we want it, and then also we want to sort it, and we'll just do AB, and then we'll just say if b dot props dot data quantity is or minus a dot props dot data quantity, and basically that's going to sort and filter out any like null values or any like 0 values on our legend, because part of a big reason for me for using chart.js custom legends is because the normal ones, like if you have like 10 data sets, they are just all in your face, and you know, it doesn't give you any sort of pagination, it doesn't give you any way to handle all that. So this is a good way. Just filter out anything that's 0. If the data quantity is 0, I don't care about that point. It's not on my chart, so I'm gonna just get it out of there. And then I want to sort it from the biggest one to the littlest one. So I'm gonna do it like that. And so basically, what I'll do here is I'm just gonna slice this legend. There's probably a more efficient way to do this. Actually, I'm not. I remember. I'm not going to handle the pagination, but basically, just keep in mind here that you could slice by. You would take your page number, multiply it by your page size. So let's say you're on page 1, and you're going to allow 6 items on your legend. So you multiply those two values. That'll be the first parameter in your slice, and then you get your page size, and then you multiply it by your page number plus 1, and that'll be the second value of your slice. And then that's how you can basically you can operate on state after that. But after this, so that's gonna be, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be it. Yeah, we don't really need anything else. Like I said, we're not gonna be doing pagination. If you guys really want it, let me know and I'll figure something out for you, but I think you can handle it. So let's see if that works. So let's see, landing page. Just gonna get some data going here. Alright, so I googled chart.js pie chart CodePen. I'm just gonna hit this first one, and I'm just gonna steal their data. She returns it. She keeps what? No, what? That is just a lame ass looking chart. Come on now. Oil data. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Whatever. We'll take our labels here. So what is this? Oil data. So we'll take our labels and our data sets from this one. That'll look a little bit more interesting, I think. So what we'll put here is we'll say, oops, pie chart custom legend. Oh man, I don't have my auto import. My work setup is just so much better. Okay, and then in here, what we're gonna say is we're gonna do data is one of our props, and chart data is an object, and we'll have our labels array and our data set array. And then what else do we have on our props here? We should be using prop types, but we're not. All right, so height we need, and then everything else should be taken care of, I think. So we'll do height is going to be, let's say like 400, whatever. Export default. Oh, right. Because I used that stupid snippet. We don't want to export default on our legend because we're going to export default on our pie chart. So there we go. Instance is not defined. Line 74. Let's see here. Oh, right, because inst. I was just talking. So that makes more sense. Unmatched paren on 87. Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. Need a custom loader to handle regex. No, I just made a mistake. So let's see here. Let's try that. Okay, cool. Now it's compiling. So we'll refresh here. Is this still gonna fail? Chart.data.net. Man, no, that's not chart.data. That should probably be legend set. So let's see. We'll do legend set because that's gonna be our data set, right? So legend set. Legend set map is not a function. Hold up. All right, so it's gonna be legend set dot data dot map. Let's see. Any more? Cannot replace of undefined. Man, that I just kind of rushed through this, didn't I? Let's see. What line is that? Of course it compiles. 39. Legend set dot label dot replace. So I guess we could just like if it exists. I mean, it should exist if the data point exists. Then the label should exist. Let's see here. So in our data set, what we'll say is that the label is going to be like oil prices. Let's try that. Hey, there we go. All right, so Canada, United Arab Emirates. Wow, this is huge. And we actually do have our stuff right here. So I'm just going to make this a little bit easier to look at here. Right now, I did my position relative, but so in here, let's just put a width. Normally, I wouldn't do this, but we'll just put a width prop in here, and we'll say 400, and then in here, we'll just kind of hack around this issue. We'll say width is going to be this dot props dot width, and then also what we'll do is we'll say width and then height, and then what we'll do actually is just pull these out and we'll say let width height is going to be this dot props. And we can do the rest of them, but whatever. Alright, there we go. That looks a little better. And if we click on that, okay. Attributes is not a function. Right, because I was talking. So we don't want dot attributes. Where is that? 41. 41, handle legend on click. I think that should just be ATTR. Property element attributes. I don't know if that's actually correct. No, that's not correct. Hold up. Alright, so that was actually a lot easier than I made it. It's just get attribute. It's just dot get attribute. And if you open up your inspector, React is going to give you some stuff about, that's not a recognized prop or whatever. So what we do here is I'm just going to replace all these. I mean, there's just not a great way to set this in React. I wonder if data IDX, if that would work. Let's see, data.idx. Let's see here. Yeah, so that does work. It's not pretty. It's kind of ugly actually, but you could always just hyphenate these. So I'll just change that on data quantity, and where's that? It'll be up here, maybe? That'll be on my on click, probably. Data quantity, okay. See, that's why I kept it like that. I mean, we could just do data quantity, probably. And I guess instead of dot, we'll just do the array. Alright, so that works, and we hit that, and that works. So there we go. We have a custom legend, and oh, it looks like it's only moving Russia. Alright, well, you kind of get the picture. I mean, like, there's some work to be done here, obviously. I mean, this was a lot of code. This, just to get this off the ground, just to have a custom legend. Let's see here. What am I doing wrong? Current target. So let's see. Console.log element dot id. So let's see. So Saudi. It's oil price. Oh, okay. Right. Alright, so basically every one of these labels is going to be the same. So instead of using label, we probably want the global labels, and then go from there. But, I'll leave that as a challenge to the viewer. This video has gone on long enough, so, obviously there are some, we could probably do that of data point, right? So, in our on-click listener, instead of passing the event, let's see, what else do we use from the event? E.target. So I guess if instead of that, we just pass in the ID, right? And we'll just put ID right there. So let's try this real quick. This is just kind of hacky, but it might work. So we'll just put data point, right? So let's see if that would work. We hit Russia. No, it doesn't work. ID of null. Alright, so that's definitely not going to work. But, I mean, there's there's a way to do this. Basically, you want just this point. So, I mean, I'm not going to work through the rest of this. I showed you how to get the custom legend set up. Obviously, the on-click listener could use some work. They're all using the same label as its ID. We could probably even inspect this in React and let's see. Do I have the extension? I do. And actually, this is on the canvas, so we can't really inspect it there. What we would need to do is we need to hit $0 dot get context 2D, and then in our canvas we should have a config object. But yeah, basically, I mean, just run through your chart object. It might be easier just to console log this chart object right here, and then just find your ID, find your data point ID. You might need to mess with the labels a little. I did this pretty quick. I just copied somebody's chart. You know, your results may vary. So there it is. That's all I got.